Yeah, Lauren was my neighbor. We're just trying to find out where she is at this point. No one has seen her since Saturday.
This is the chilling story about a killer who admitted to a murder on live television for the whole world to see. But what seriously led up to this moment? To answer that, let's take you back to his early life, where his origins truly began. This is the Stephen McDaniel case. Stephen was born in 1989 with a kind of respectful background, until he would later be known as a sick bastard. But growing up, Stephen did not give a damn about school at all, and would find himself skipping class a lot. Now, this might make sense considering the future, but Stephen was a bully, and often bullied others at school, especially girls. One little bright thing about his early life was that he did graduate high school. Before I continue, I need you to remember Lauren's name. It's actually crucial for you to remember. He apparently asked Lauren out on a date, and she would reject him because, well, she was dating someone. Although rejection is tough to accept, this sick idiot didn't take no for an answer, because exactly a week after asking her on a date, Lauren went missing. This actually took place on June 26th, 2011. Lauren graduated and was studying for her exam. Something strange about this setting is she already suspected someone was watching her. She even went to email her boyfriend the night before her death, admitting someone tried breaking into her house. Lauren told all of her close friends and family that she wanted to focus on her studies, so she had no distractions in the way. When her sister Caitlin would call her, Lauren would barely answer her calls. But usually, if she missed the call, she would call or text her back. Only this time, her sister didn't hear any call or text message. This is where a bad feeling would kick in because you know something is clearly wrong. With a bad feeling, she would contact her friends, but even her friends didn't know anything because they didn't hear from her either. And this was for a long time. With all of this, they had to get to the bottom of it, so they went to investigate. When they found the apartment, they noticed Lauren's car was still parked in the parking lot, but when they knocked on the door, she didn't answer it. I want you to put yourself in Caitlin's shoes. Imagine your sister or brother doesn't call or text back for a few days, and when you finally go to their house, they don't answer their door. It truly puts your mind in a bad place because that's when you know you have to be ready for the inevitable truth. Luckily, one of her friends knew where Lauren kept a spare key. They used it and went searching in the apartment, but sadly, they couldn't find her. She was nowhere to be seen. At this point, they would call the police because everyone was worried for Lauren. The police did not see blood or anything that would catch their eye. But when they sprayed luminol all over, her bathrooms, floors, walls, and bathtub would light up. For those of you who don't know what luminol is, it's basically used for blood detection. Lauren's house quickly became a crime scene. The police were searching everywhere for any clues they could find, but they did notice a weird smell coming out of the trash cans. A smell that was terrible, as if there was a dead body. I hope you're ready for what I'm about to reveal next, because it's truly disturbing, even for me as I was reading up on this. The police emptied the trash and saw Lauren's torso wrapped in a plastic sheet. This was so bad that a detective even said he has never seen something like this before. Stephen was truly a monster. When the body was found, Stephen McDaniel, aka the murderer, tried covering all of this up, giving an interview to the news station pretending to be a concerned friend of his classmate, acting like he had no idea what happened. When he learned the body was found, his mood changed.
I mean, we just don't know where she is.
What about in the parking lot area? I know they've been doing a lot of, I think that's where they have recovered the body or whatever they recovered from there.
Body?
But there would be a discovery in all of this that will make you feel angry. Something that will make you feel pissed off. Believe me. Stephen allowed the police to come into his apartment, and the investigators found that Stephen had a master key to every apartment in the complex. This put a huge target on Stephen's back because it seemed very suspicious. When questioning Stephen, he came clean and he said he broke into 2 apartments and stole condoms from each one. With this, the police had no other choice but to arrest him. The police carried on with the investigation. After their arrest, The investigators thought they'd found a new lead. They carried on with their search in his apartment and found a lot of questionable things. They discovered things like a hacksaw and a pair of underwear that had Lauren's DNA on it, and flash drives that had a lot of terrible things. Things that shouldn't ever be on a flash drive. Just know this guy was truly sick in the head. In the laundry room, they discovered the hacksaw matching the packaging in his apartment. They also found a sheet full of blood. After a lot of testing, it was confirmed that Lauren's blood was on that sheet. Man, discovery after discovery. You truly know the detail and how far he was willing to go with this. And trust me on this one, it gets much worse. August 2nd, 2011. Stephen was charged with murder and was also charged with 7 counts of child sexual exploitation. But now, it's time I talk about everything after this and the confession of the murder on live TV. To sum this all up, Stephen broke into the apartment where he killed Lauren. Days after Lauren was reported missing, a local news channel would interview Stephen as a neighbor. After learning he was the murderer, the interview takes a different turn, as Stephen pretends to be distraught and shocked that she went missing. He was really suspicious and tried making it clear he had no idea what happened to Lauren. He had a breakdown when the reporter notes the police recovered the body. He was already a person of interest in this case by the time of that interview. When police searched his room, they say McDaniel was stressed and sweating badly, and he drank 10 bottles of water. He was digging himself into a deep hole. The police recovered her torso from the building's trash dumpster. Her head and other body parts were probably carried away to the dump. A police car did park in front of this, keeping the body there until it was searched. In interrogation, Stephen would not give any information, and it came off as extremely weird. He was already suspicious as it is.
You're gonna look at this right here, this little girl right here, and you're gonna say you don't know? I know you know.
I don't.
Yes, you know. What are you gonna say tomorrow when I say we got your hair with the body?
This is where they made the discovery of everything in his room. And now that we're all caught up, it's time to reveal what happens next. But before I do that, make sure to hit the like button if you're not a loser like Stephen. And make sure to click subscribe for more ass-kicking content. After he was arrested and was in there for well over 10 months, Stephen confessed to the murder and also pleaded guilty. All of this being on April 21st, 2012. This is where he was sentenced to life in prison, where he belongs. But this case isn't over because he revealed a lot more stuff about his murder. He also confessed to how he stalked Lauren, filming her through her second-story window with his camera attached to a long stick. And all of this happened before he murdered her. When he figured out she was all alone, he used his key to enter the room. She got startled by the sound of him breaking in, and Stephen would go on to jump on her and strangle her to death. He proceeded to drag her body to the bathtub, where he used his hacksaw to cut up the corpse. He cut up all the body parts and put them in garbage bags and put them in the dumpster. He was expecting to hear nothing back from this and thought he got away with all of this. But the torso was discovered and his evil plan had failed. Many believe, due to his well-thought-out crime, that Stephen McDaniel was a serial killer. This definitely wasn't his first time doing something like this. And what's chilling to think about is if he didn't get caught with this one, who knows how many more lives would have been lost. Today, Stephen McDaniel remains in Valdosta prison, and he's most likely gonna be there until his death. But that's good enough for me, and I hope he rots there. What he did was so messed up, and losing a life like Lauren's will most likely cause pain for her family forever. I hope her family finds peace knowing they found the guy that did it. To conclude everything, Stephen McDaniel was a stalker and very much so a creep. He went very far and took massive lengths in stalking Lauren. With the camera, he watched her every move, using all kinds of spying devices. Lauren had no idea he was doing any of this, but she suspected something was going on. Even though nobody will see her as a lawyer, her legacy lives on. The Association of Women Law Students at Mercer Law has started an annual memorial in her name. It also benefits the schoolship created in her name. The school she was working at before the time of her death also has an annual softball game and memorial walk in her name. As for Stephen McDaniel, he'll go down as the biggest piece of shit. Anyways, this was the Stephen McDaniel case. Who knows? There might be another just like Stephen McDaniel out there. Will another one like him strike? Only time will tell.